Welcome back to RetroWheelsVault, where horsepower never dies. I'm RetroVault 4, your tour guide through chrome jungles and V8 symphonies. Today we're rolling out the red carpet for the 1961 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz, an ocean liner of luxury on four wheels. Because modern cars forgot what muscle means. Let's dive right into it. The 1961 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz wasn't just a car, it was Cadillac's shining halo, a rolling crown jewel meant to show the world what the brand could do when money, style, and ambition collide. Aspirational is putting it mildly. This was a car that said, "I don't follow trends, I set them." Wrapped in chrome leather and a V8 growl that could politely remind your neighbors who was in charge of the boulevard. But it wasn't just any Cadillac. The Biarritz was rare, practically whispering exclusivity with every mile it traveled. Only 1,450 units were produced in 1961, making it as uncommon as a diamond in a haystack, or a parking spot in a crowded city with a land yacht like this. Today, finding one is like striking gold. Spotting a pristine example can make collectors' hearts race faster than the car ever could. In short, the Biarritz was a statement on wheels. Bold, luxurious, and unapologetically indulgent. It was Cadillac showing off at its finest. A car that didn't just turn heads, it spun entire city blocks. Owning one wasn't just about driving. It was about participating in a rare piece of automotive theater, a glittering star in the galaxy of classic cars. In 1961, Cadillac hit the reset button, restyling and reengineering its entire lineup, and the Eldorado Biarritz rode that wave in style. Technically, it was reclassified as a sub-series of the DeVille Series 6300, a move that sounds less glamorous than it looks. But make no mistake, this car was still dripping with curbside drama. Cadillac didn't throw away the Eldorado convertible either. It would shoulder on through 1966 with fewer show-stopping differences compared to its showroom siblings. The 61 design was like Cadillac had trimmed its suit for a sleeker silhouette. Up front, a new convex, jewel-like grille leaned back toward both bumper and hood lip, nestled neatly between dual headlamps. It looked like the car was grinning, confidently but with a touch of smugness, as if to say, "Yes, I know I'm the best thing in traffic." The front pillars were rear slanting with a reverse curve at the base, a trick borrowed from the 1959 and 1960 Broughams, though the windshield was a bit less of a panoramic sweep this time around. For the finishing touch, Cadillac added a lower body skeg dressed in a thin 3/4 length spear molding, running gracefully from the front wheel opening to the tail, like chrome eyeliner on an already glamorous star. Under the hood of the 61 Biarritz lurked a 390 cubic inch overhead valve V8, a power plant that wasn't just an engine, it was a sermon in steel. With 325 horsepower at 4,800 RPM and a beefy 430 foot-pounds of torque at 3,100 RPM, this motor had the kind of low-end grunt that could haul you and your tailfins past the slow lane without breaking a sweat. Built on a cast iron block with 5 main bearings, it had durability baked right into its bones. The bore measured 4 inches, the stroke 3.9, making it a near square design, like Cadillac was trying to balance brute strength with smooth elegance. Compression sat roughly at 10.5 to 1, which meant this V8 liked its fuel with a little octane kick, but the payoff was silk smooth power delivery. At the heart of fueling duties was a Rochester 4GC 4-barrel carburetor, essentially the bouncer at the door, making sure just the right amount of air and fuel made it right into the party. Fire it up and you didn't just get motion, you got music, a deep, confident rumble that reminded everyone around that this wasn't just a car. It was a Cadillac and had lungs like an opera singer in chrome. Power is great, but it's useless without a smooth way to deliver it, and Cadillac made sure the Eldorado Biarritz had exactly that. Bolted to a 390 V8 was a 4-speed hydromatic automatic, the kind of transmission that made driving effortless, like gliding across a dance floor with Fred Astaire leading. No clunky shifts, no awkward hesitations, just seamless power delivered that reminded you why Cadillac was the gold standard to luxury. The Hydromatic had been refined over years of service, and by 1961, it was as polished as the chrome trim on the car itself. 4 forward gears might sound modest by today's 8-speed this, 10-speed that standards, but back then it was cutting edge, offering a perfect balance between performance and refinement. Step on the gas and the Biarritz didn't launch, it surged, smoothing as pouring cream into your morning coffee. What made it so appealing was the way it erased effort from the driving experience. Whether you were cruising down Main Street or eating up miles on the interstate, the Hydromatic kept everything calm, controlled, and dignified. In a world of manual gear jammers, Cadillac gave you something better. A gearbox that did all the thinking while you sat back and adjusted your cufflinks and enjoyed the ride. Beneath all that chrome and Cadillac swagger, the 61 Biarritz rode on GM's mighty C-body platform, a foundation that was as big and solid as a ballroom floor. This was a chassis that gave Cadillac its reputation for being more yacht than car, a floating palace on wheels designed to soak up the road with grace. Up front, the engineers gave it a ball-jointed double wishbone suspension, which was about as advanced as a waltz compared to the clumsy shuffle of older designs. It allowed the big convertible to handle curves with a touch more poise, even if corner carving wasn't exactly in the Biarritz's job description. Think of it as teaching a heavyweight boxer to dance ballet. It wasn't perfect, but it worked surprisingly well. At the rear sat a trusty live axle with coil springs, delivering Cadillac's signature magic carpet ride. No bumps, no fuss, just a sensation of gliding along like you were levitating above the pavement. The combination gave the Eldorado the kind of smoothness that could make even potholes feel like polite suggestions. In short, the chassis and suspension weren't about speed and precision. They were about making sure passengers arrived feeling like royalty, never rattled, always regal. Step inside the Biarritz, and you're immediately transported into what feels like the lobby of a 5-star hotel mixed with the cockpit of a jet-age dream. Cadillac wasn't just selling cars, they were selling thrones on wheels. Plush upholstery options ranged from all leather to elegant leather and cloth combos, and the front seats came standard as a 6-way power-adjustable bench. Some lucky owners even splurged on bucket seats for that captain-of-your-own-ship vibe. Comfort was the name of the game. A heater and defroster came standard, while factory air conditioning was available for those who wanted to rule over summer traffic like a cool breeze in human form. Power windows, including electric vent windows and power door locks, were standard, reminding you that in 1961, Cadillac had already mastered the art of convenience. The dashboard with its sleek design showcased a horizontal 120 mph speedometer and gauges for fuel and coolant, occasionally graced with a dash-mounted clock to keep your drives punctual. And then came the tech showpiece, the Ontronic Eye. This clever gadget automatically dimmed your headlights for oncoming cars, like having a polite chauffeur built right in. Added a signal-seeking push-button AM radio, washers, wipers, and even a remote trunk lock, and you had luxury laced with innovation, a true Cadillac calling card. When it came to putting all that Cadillac muscle to the pavement, the Eldorado Biarritz relied on a standard 2.94:1 rear axle ratio, perfect for smooth, effortless cruising. For those who checked the air conditioning box, a shorter 3.21:1 ratio was available, giving the big Caddy a bit more pep off the line. Some lucky examples even boasted a limited slip differential, or positive traction, which kept both wheels biting when traction got tricky. It wasn't about drag strip glory, but rather about making sure your luxury liner never lost its footing, like a ballroom dancer in chrome shoes, gliding gracefully no matter the surface. If this Cadillac Eldorado were a person, it wouldn't be a runway model. It'd be a heavyweight champion in a tuxedo. Measuring a staggering 222 inches long, it was practically its own zip code, capable of blocking sunlight if parked the right way. At nearly 80 inches wide, this Cadillac took up more road than a country lane wanted to give, forcing lesser cars to politely step aside. Its height came in at just 54.6 inches, giving it that long, low, and lean look, like a battleship crouching at dock, ready to sail. The 129.5-inch wheelbase added to the impression of grandeur, stretching the car's proportions so much that parallel parking became less effort and more urban chess. And then there was the curb weight. Between 4,800 and 5,000 pounds. That's over 2.5 tons of American steel, chrome, and leather rolling down the boulevard. Driving one wasn't so much piloting a car as it was captaining a land yacht. But that was the point. Cadillac wasn't chasing nimble, dart-around town sports cars. No, the Biarritz was designed to make every trip feel like a parade where the road belonged to you and everyone else was just a spectator. The 1961 Cadillac Biarritz had strengths that made it the crown jewel of the boulevard. First and foremost, it was pure presence. Long, wide, and dripping in chrome, and had the charisma of a Hollywood starlet arriving at a red carpet premiere. The 390 V8 delivered a plenty of smooth power paired with the Hydra-matic transmission for effortless cruising. Add in its plush interior loaded with power accessories, autotronic eye, headlight dimmer, and available air conditioning, and you had a car that made its driver feel like royalty. The ride quality was another strength. Cadillac suspension made potholes feel more like polite knowledge than road hazards. But no car is perfect. Weaknesses came mostly from the Eldorado's sheer size and weight. At nearly 5,000 pounds and 222 inches long, this wasn't exactly a car for tight city streets and gas station stinginess. Fuel economy was more thirsty sailor than sipping gentleman, and handling was stately rather than sporty. Corners weren't conquered so much as gently persuaded. Maintenance costs and the complexity of its many power features could also keep owners busy. Still, when judged by its purpose, luxury, style, and commanding presence, the Eldorado Biarritz was less about weaknesses and more about unapologetic indulgence. The 1961 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz wasn't just a car, it was an experience. From ocean liner length to its velvet glove interior, it represented Cadillac at the height of its rolling palace era. This was a machine built for the boulevard, where the goal wasn't to get somewhere fast, but to get there in style, preferably with everyone else staring in envy. Its strengths, power, presence, and luxury far outweighed its quirks of size, thirst, and maintenance. After all, nobody buys a chandelier for its practicality. They buy it because it dazzles. The Biarritz remains a reminder that once upon a time, American cars weren't afraid to be bold, brash, and a little bit over the top. They were statements as much as they were machines, and this Cadillac made its statement loud and clear. So here's a question for you. If you could take the wheel of this land yacht for a day, would you cruise the city streets or stretch its legs on the open highway? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear them. And if you enjoyed this ride, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again here at RetroWheelsVault. Keep it loud. Keep it classic.